This is our 2012 16-foot Scamp travel trailer. We purchased it in the summer of 2019, and we spent the spring and summer of 2020 doing a mini interior update with some paint and some brighter colors. And we're going to tell you why we love this layout so much. This is layout number 6 with the bed in the back, the side dinette and the side kitchen area. The bathroom and the storage area is in the front of the trailer. We're going to do an interior walk around in the Scamp so you get to see all of the different features and how some of the things work in here. And I'll start with the bed because this is what we get the most questions about. The bed in the Scamp is about the equivalent of a full-size mattress, but the corners are a little bit rounded, so it's like slightly smaller than a full-size mattress. And I'll take measurements just so you get a better idea of exactly how much space you're working with. So that's 47 inches across, so it's just almost 4 feet wide. And then the length, 6 feet. It's like 6 feet 2 inches from wall to wall. So if you're somebody who's taller, it's probably not the best bed for you, but for us, the two of us and Redford can fit on this bed. It's a little snug, but it works pretty well. When the Scamp is up for rent, the bed is going to be set up like this. This is just a mattress protector, kind of like a day bed. It's just a covering to protect the bedding underneath. And then this is just a flat sheet, again, to protect the mattress during the day. And then there's another waterproof Cool Touch mattress protector on top of the cushions. The renter is going to be responsible for pillows and blankets and sheets and all of the bedding and linens, unless they go for the upgraded linen package. So there's storage up above the bed on both sides. We usually put our clothes up there. Patrick puts his clothes on that side. I put my clothes on the other side here. The important thing is that there's no air conditioning in our Scamp, but we have the Fantastic fan right above the bed. So this works pretty well. When it's hot, we can set the Fantastic fan so you open the vent, and then you're going to pick if you want the airflow to come in or if you want the airflow to go out. And sometimes it's nice to have the air coming in and blowing right on you if you're sleeping, or if it's really hot in here and you want to pull the air out, you can switch it to out, but you have to make sure it's on one or the other or it won't turn on. And then you can set the dial on the back to how strong you want the fan to be. So that's the Fantastic fan. And then there's another bigger skylight that you need this little hook to open, which is always in the utensil drawer. And this actually brings in a lot of light to the middle of the camper. And this is also the emergency exit. If you ever needed to climb out of the roof of the Scamp, you can. Underneath the bed, there's a bunch of storage. We usually throw things under here when we are traveling because it's easy to throw things in there. This board comes out so that you can slide things in and slide things out. So there's actually a very good amount of storage in the Scamp. So then let's look at the kitchen, because our kitchen is just a little bit different than the traditional Scamp because we have this extra side table. There's just a string that goes up to this cabinet. It's looped around here. So you take it off that handle and you switch it to the other handle. So now you have space to dry your dishes. I usually put that there, or you can use it for some extra space when you're doing prep work if you're cooking. And then the other nice thing is I will pop off the stove cover and turn that over, and it becomes another surface for me to cook with. I usually put the plates and things here and set everything up so that I can take this and walk outside with it, because a lot of times we like to eat outside anyway. The stove is a 2-burner stove, and you have to light this with a lighter. And you just turn that to light and wait for the gas to come through. Sometimes if you just turned the propane on, you might have to bleed the line a little bit and just let it go through before it'll light. That's also a trick if the hot water heater isn't lighting right away. You want to run the stove until you're able to light it, and then you know there's enough propane in the line that you can turn on the hot water heater too. These come off. You can actually squeeze them to take them off so it's easier to clean the stove. And then when we come over to the sink, there's a little built-in cutting board there. I have a little piece of Velcro to hold it in place in case the road is a little bit rough. There's the sink. It's a pretty good sized sink for a tiny camper. And then there's your built-in cutting board. The first of our 2 fire extinguishers in the corner of the kitchen. And then we have another one up in the cabinet that I'll show you. Okay, light up here. We usually store food in the top cabinets. Over here, right next to the bed, this is the on-off switch for the water pump. So if you were pulling water out of your fresh tank, like if you were at a site that did not have a direct water hookup that was pressurized, then you would have to turn the water pump on in order to get the water from the sink or from the shower. This is the controller for your heat, and it's really simple. All you do is just push that over. You actually have to be careful not to bump it in the middle of the night and turn the heat on by accident. And then over on the side there is the explosive gas detector, just in case if there's any sort of a leak with propane. It's also a carbon monoxide detector, so a little extra safety in the Scamp there. Right next to the kitchen, we have this extra cabinet. We don't have a microwave in here, so that gives us this extra storage room. And on the front here is the front to back leveler. And then on the other side is the side to side leveler. We'll walk over there. So this top cabinet has the mirror. This is where we keep important paperwork. And then over on the side here is our binder with all of our manuals in them. It has the manuals for absolutely everything in the Scamp. The hot water heater, the fridge, anything that you need to read about is going to be in there. We have some little containers that help to organize the space. And then on the other side is the Scamp guest book. So if you get to stay in the Scamp, you can leave us a little message in the guest book. And then underneath here is the fridge. So it's a Dometic fridge. You have these side areas that you can put drinks and condiments and things, and this bottom row is for holding bottles in place. It has these little things that will prevent them from sliding side to side. We have a thermometer in here so you can check how the fridge is doing. You have your freezer up at the top with your ice cube tray. We use these little pans to keep things organized in the fridge and keep it a little cleaner. And then there's also some tension rods. So if you want to put that in to make sure that your food doesn't slide around as much, you can use those. And then on the bottom are the operating instructions. So the fridge is going to operate either on gas or on electric, and the instructions are right there for you to switch it using the little knobs that are on the front there.
So for gas operation of the refrigerator, first of all, the propane has to be turned on from the front. And then to turn this on, there's instructions here. It can be a little confusing, but they'll get used to. All you have to do is turn this to quarter turn and turn this part to the desired position. So that's electric if we're connected to electric. And it's connected to gas. And to light it, all you have to do is hold this in and push, and that lights up the pilot light. Do that a couple times, you might hear it go, and you could see a blue flame in here. Sometimes that's hard to see, so the little trick is I actually go to the back and open up the refrigerator and just put my hand on the unit that's making it warm to create the refrigeration, and you'll feel it. You just put your hand up to it, and I can show you that.
There's another cabinet down on the bottom here that we usually put cans and heavier things in. And then as we come around, so over here we have a few hooks by the door, and that's usually where we put our keys or things that we don't want to lose. The side-to-side leveler is right here. And then we have the screen door. And when you are driving, you just have to make sure you take the snap and secure the screen door in place so it doesn't move around. Okay, and then on the other side up here, another mirror, and we have our first aid kit and the second of our fire extinguishers. And then there's a couple cleaning supplies that are tucked into the corner there. This bigger lower cabinet has a bar up on the top so that if you want to hang any clothes you could, but we mostly use this as like our utility area. So you're going to find your leveling blocks in there, and you're going to find your extension cord to plug the Scamp in, because we have just a regular outlet that we plug the Scamp into. And then your dog bones, so if you have a 50 amp or 30 amp, you can use the dog bones to be able to plug this in. And any other things that you would need to set up the Scamp are usually located in that lower, larger cabinet. More hooks. We hang a lot of things up here, and then we'll go and look at the bathroom. So on the back of the door, I just have this little tie, and we like to use that to keep the door open, which is nice. Usually when we're showering, we'll leave the door open to get better ventilation in the bathroom. And you have this front window that you can open too. It just opens a little bit so you can get some better ventilation in here. But this is a wet bath, so everything gets wet when you take a shower. The hot water heater is outside. We'll show you how to use that. The shower curtain is just tucked up onto the side here. So when you're taking a shower, you just pull the curtain down and over to cover the door. Make sure that it's all contained, and then during the day we just tuck it. There's a hook up here. We just tuck it out of the way. So the toilet is a typical RV toilet. It's also by Dometic. So you're going to pull up on the handle to put water into the bowl, and then when you're ready to flush, you're going to push that down and let it snap back so that the seal closes completely. On the other side, there's the waterproof toilet paper holder. So you can shower, just make sure that the toilet paper isn't like hanging out because it'll get all wet. Hot and cold water here. You just have to prep the hot water heater a little bit before you go to take a shower so that it's in the system. This shower head has an on-off button up at the top here, so you can do what people call a Navy shower, where you wet yourself, soap up, turn off the water, and then when you're ready to rinse, you turn the water back on and rinse everything off, so that way you're not using as much water. There's a little mirror in there, and some hooks if you need to hang up anything. The bamboo floor mat in here is removable, especially if you're a little bit taller, and the plastic liner in the shower has to be removed before you take a shower so that the drain can work properly. But that plastic liner is basically to protect dirt and things from falling into the drain so that it doesn't get clogged. So take that plastic liner out before you take a shower so that the water can drain properly, and just make sure no dirt goes down there. Over underneath the toilet paper holder is the button to turn on the drain. So the shower does not drain automatically. When there's some water that starts to collect in the bottom as you're showering, you're just going to flip that switch on and you'll hear the pump kick in, and that will drain the water out, and then when it's empty you have to turn the pump off to make sure that it doesn't burn itself out. So let's take a measurement of the shower, because a lot of people ask me how much headroom there is in the shower. So from the floor of the shower up to the highest part of the ceiling in here is 71 inches, so it's just under 6 feet. So if you're taller, that's going to be a little bit cramped, but it's doable. And then I'm standing on the raised bamboo mat right now, and I'm about 5'5", so I have a little bit of extra headroom. The inside of the door of the Scamp has a bunch of trail maps from the Appalachian Trail, which is kind of a fun thing to look at, and that goes through all the cabinets in the camper. You can follow the trail through different states. So I'll unhook the door to close that. When you're moving, always make sure that the bathroom door is securely latched so it's not banging around. The model that we have has the side dinette, and this dinette will actually turn into a bed. You can take the tabletop and drop it down. But over on this side, by the first chair, this is the furnace, and then there's a little storage area on the side here. So this is where we keep our electric heater, and this is something we only use if we're at a full hookup site and we're plugged into electric, because this pulls a decent amount of electricity, so you don't want to overdo it with that. And then we also have this cargo net that we string across. So a lot of times we will put our bags and things underneath there, and you can string the cargo net across, and it does a really good job of just making sure that things don't slide out from underneath there. When the table is in use as a table, we put this piece of a pool noodle in the back here to keep the table really stable. So it's very secure right now, which is nice. If you take that pool noodle out, the table tends to move around a little bit. So just keep that in mind. This is our fix to keep the table really stable when you're using it. Underneath the other side of the dinette, there's the fuse box, and then this cabinet underneath here has some of our electrical in it, and there's a box of extra fuses in there as well.
So we took the trusty noodle out, and to take this off, you just can kind of just work it back and forth, and it just pops off. Then just flip it upside down. I'm just gonna put this over here for now. This piece, pretty simple. Just work it back and forth and pull out. Then to make the bed, we just put the piece back on top of the wood supports, and there's your bed. And then all you have to do is just put down your bedding for extra cushion, and you have your bed.
There's the side bed.
Actually, that's the first time we did that.
It is. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm 5'9", and this is the first time I ever did this. But I'll see how I do. So my feet are completely just down on the cushion, and I got 4 or 5 inches left.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. A little wider, but I could get away with this.
For like a child,
yeah.
I think it would be pretty good size.
Yep.
6 feet 8 inches?
Yeah, 6 feet 8 inches.
Okay, and then how wide?
Looking at 2 feet.
Okay, so it's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
It'd be good if you had a sleeping bag to put right on top of that. And actually, most people who have Scamps on the forums, they say that they don't actually use regular bedding on the Scamp. They usually just use their sleeping bags on top of the mattresses, but totally up to you. So we don't use the actual Scamp cushions that came with this because they're really, really firm and uncomfortable. So we just switched them to regular lounge chair cushions, and we find that to be a lot nicer to sit on. Thanks for watching this tour of our 16-foot Scamp travel trailer. We're going to be putting out another video with a detailed walk around of the exterior of the trailer and how to work the hot water heater and the propane tanks and all of that stuff that goes along with the exterior of the camper. And you might also be interested in seeing our future video where we talk about the pros and the cons of having a small fiberglass trailer now that we've had the Scamp for about a year. So we'll see you in the next video.
Well, you worried about you and me, the justice, the next president to be. The news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there. So don't be scared, just take a deep breath of air. And 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again. And though time flies, we'll have enough to realize.